yet, and that's why the anecdotes that I've given you are very informal and non-detailed. But I think that there's enough there to do a more thorough academic study. I'm particularly interested in the way the intersection of privacy issues, taboos, and really information management kind of all come together to point to something that gets to the heart of what it means to be human. So I hope you agree, and thank you so much for listening. And I see a microphone being waved around.
Hello, is this on? Yeah, so I guess my question is, like, why do you really think that we need to catalog all of this information? Like I can understand, I guess, as a sociological researcher, why it's interesting, but I think that for a lot of people, the only thing that they really care about with regard to pornography is whether or not it gets them off. So, like, it doesn't seem to me that, like, it doesn't seem like there is a lot of people crying out for better organization of pornography, and maybe that's the reason, you know, I mean...
I think that's a great question. I don't think that it's necessary, and in fact, if people are happy with how their porn is stored, then I certainly wouldn't want to mandate or even imply that they're doing anything wrong with how they're managing their own porn collection. What I am curious about, there are two parts to this. One is academically, if there are collections of porn that are held by, say, university libraries or research libraries, I would like those to be better cataloged so that other people with academic interests in them, or even just members of the community who have any interest in them, can find them. Currently, if you want to read a book, you know, of some other nature, you can find that book. Just because a book is pornographic doesn't mean that suddenly you lose the right to find it. So that's the main thing. In the other case, someone's private collection of pornography, now that it's easy to keep an enormous collection, it seems to me that it's equivalent to just jumbling up all of your books in a huge pile. And how do you know what's there if you don't somehow, you know, name the files and put them in folders of some sort? If that doesn't matter to you, then it doesn't matter, and that's fine.
My question would be, okay. Contrary to the nice guy who posted the first question, I am interested in cataloging my porn.
Yes.
And so I've been wondering what tools and programs and methods you've encountered or you would recommend.
Just sit down and...
As I said, the people I've spoken with are really just using a kind of very flat folder system. It's really the electronic equivalent of having a filing system, and it's not very deeply organized, and neither is it cross-referenced. I would think that at the point where you wanted to tag things semantically in some way, where you had genres and performers and sex acts, and anything else going on in the scene or the clip or the, who the producer was or the director or the publisher, that you'd want some other kind of database structure, and that you might seek out other kinds of semantic tagging tools and some kind of relational database. That's why I want to do more research. So I apologize for not being more helpful right this second, but please feel free to email me. Right here? Oh, Picasa, somebody just said, I just overheard that somebody said, try using Picasa.
Okay, you're talking about one approach to looking at pornography, about collecting a lot of pornography and cataloging it. But there's another way, is getting pornography wherever you want it. And I don't have any collection of porn, but I have written quite sophisticated programs for getting pornography from the internet automatically. They scrap multiple... So they look at multiple meta-index servers and do some multi-threaded downloading and whatever filtering and stuff like that. And what I'm wondering is how many people in the audience are willing to admit to doing something like that? Thank you.
So, could people raise their hands again? I didn't quite see. Oh,
all right.
I saw about 30 hands. So other people who are scraping the web for porn, and that rocks. Okay, next question.
I just have two comments.
Sure.
About, one being about tagging. I think mainstream movies, they're just tagged in drama and action, which is very hard to find what I want. If I'm looking for porn, it's much easier because I go to, I don't know, DP or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's not totally fair to say that porn isn't very well tagged, because it's tagged much better. And the other comment is about ordering things and sorting them. And I think mainstream and porn has the same thing. It's just seen and unseen. These are...
Hello.
Hello.
This is kind of funny. My name is Gadi, and I seem to do this every Congress. I'm really ashamed. I was sitting in the speaker room, and
You were?
people were still forbidden to talk to me earlier, and people were listening to your lecture. Really funny, by the way. Thank you. And somebody said, I don't know who it was. Sorry, I wasn't here. Nobody's crying out. They said a lot of other smart things. Nobody's crying out for better organization of porn. So I just flew out of the speaker room. And I'm a big guy, as everybody can see, right? And while I admittedly and shamedly with a lot of shame admit I have no porn on my computer, really, I'm the only one in the room probably, I am officially crying out for better organization of porn any seconds. Anybody second me? So now I can go back to a very important email on my computer. Thank you for giving the talk.
Thank you, Gaudi.
Hello.
Hello.
Also, thanks for the interesting talk.
I lost where the microphone is. Oh, way in the back. Hello.
Just a question. Did you encounter any cultural differences between Asia, Europe, and the US about pornography and sorting, or the feeling or bad feelings about it?
To date, my sample is small enough and only restricted to a handful of American friends. Hopefully, by opening up the floodgates at a packed room at an international hacker conference, I will get some input from an international audience. I am sure that those cultural differences exist about feelings and opinions about pornography. I really don't have a guess about the organizational The one guess I'm willing to make is that there would be a correlation between embarrassment and unwillingness to organize. So that someone who was more embarrassed would be less willing to organize, because that would mean sort of looking twice at the pornographic material. Whether that then correlates to anything that maps culturally or not, I really wouldn't be willing to guess off the top of my head. There is a hand up there.
Or here?
And there's a hand here.
Oh, yeah.
You go first. He doesn't have the mic yet.
All right. I was wondering, how many people have you actually yet interviewed about the porn collection, and how many of them were female?
Sure.
Just one more double question, kind of like.
Sure.
And wait a second. It was like, I was wondering how you approach people about your research. I mean, how do you start it? How do you establish contact?
So,
do you just go ahead and like ask? I mean, I'm a social researcher, and I was wondering if you have any porn on your PC or something. How do you do it?
Well, so I have talked so far to 8 people, 3 of whom were women, and some of those people's porn collections were already known to me because 2 of the women participate heavily in slash communities, and one of the men has actually made a point of cataloging his porn. So it's something that he's discussed before, and that was actually one reason why I'd given some thought to the matter years ago, really. The conversation that I described in the most detail, actually, though, was one where I was actually kind of outed at a party. So the fellow who was hiding his porn from his girlfriend, it was broached to him, hey, she's a sociologist and she's studying porn. And he busted up laughing. Like, he cracked up. And he was like, you're a graduate student and they let you study porn? Blah. And he said, I study porn. And I'm one of my best sort of like, awesome. So I said, would you like to tell me about it? And actually once we had a sort of initial interchange, he then spoke really seriously about, well, actually, so this is what I do. And he was very open to discussing it, and it was a really interesting conversation. So he was the person I knew least well, but he was very open about the discussion. It was great.
I just wanted to comment on how you'd say the probability of people cataloging their stuff might be less if they're
I'm sorry, could you speak?
If they are more embarrassed about cataloging it and it being too intense. I don't know. It might be comparable to how some tit magazine relates to some glamour photos, and I don't know if someone feels he's very sophisticated about cataloging his porn. So I wouldn't just say it that it might be related. That's so directly related. But people might say they have very special sorting methods, etc. Because that way they don't spend all the time getting off, but more time having an intellectual kind
okay, I see.
To the point.
So it's a kind of distance. It might be a kind of distancing mechanism. That seems entirely possible. I'm not sure how much time we have.